Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced that all ICE officers and other Homeland Security agents in Minneapolis will now wear body cameras immediately. The plan is to expand this nationwide. It follows controversy over recent fatal shootings involving federal agents in the area. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE have purchased more than 500,000 square foot facility in Berks County, Pennsylvania. Local reports note it could be repurposed for enforcement or a detention space. We like that news. Now, in Portland, it's something quite different. City leaders are implementing policy aimed at restricting and punishing ICE after protests at an ICE facility. A U.S. district judge is even considering temporary restrictions on ICE and federal agents when it comes to use of force during protests in Portland. I think they may have forgotten a thing or two about who won the Civil War and how the Supremacy Clause works. In the case of Minneapolis, we've got federal agents and also a county medical examiner now saying that the death of Alex Preddy is a homicide. We have real doubts about that characterization. After all, we saw multiple videos of Alex Preddy acting like this to provoke violent confrontation with ICE.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him.
Joining us now is Wisconsin Republican Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. Congressman, I remember during the riots in Kenosha, you and Representative Tiffany would tell a lot of us how the regular folks in Wisconsin were just mortified by the destructive riots. What are your thoughts as you see these anti-ICE riots in your fellow Midwestern state of Minnesota?
Yeah, man, you're right. I mean, if you go back to the years when Scott Walker was governor in Wisconsin, I was the majority leader. Believe it or not, my younger brother was the speaker at the time. And we had a crowd that occupied the state capitol for weeks at a time. And for the most part, were under control. But every once in a while, there would be some type of outburst. But it was something that I think we grew accustomed to. And when you do see what's going on in Minnesota right now, it does... It kind of brings back some of those memories, no doubt about it.
In Portland right now, we have local officials saying that they're going to take action against any facility that might be used by ICE. They'll use zoning, they'll use fines. How can the federal government ensure that states don't go out of their way to resist federal law enforcement?
Yeah, I think if you anticipate kind of where these sanctuary cities are, it usually shows kind of what they're thinking, what those elected officials that eventually put that municipality in that position were thinking, that ultimately they would be this place where a lot of these types of issues could emerge. So I'm not surprised, and I don't think a lot of people are certainly surprised by probably the disposition that some of these municipalities have, and really that their law enforcement is put in a much more difficult position than anyone ever anticipated.
Yeah, you're a veteran of the House Judiciary Committee, where Democrats have regularly teed off to demonize law enforcement. Now we're seeing word out of the medical examiner that the Preddy killing is going to be deemed a homicide. Do you agree with that assessment, or do you believe there are politics at play?
No, I think there needs to be a lot more research done and a lot more analysis done before you can make that type of conclusion. I think ultimately what we had was somebody that basically found themselves in a situation that they had put themselves in. And unfortunately, it escalated to a level that resulted in this individual's death. But, just as many of the videos that now have emerged, this was a person that was showing up at these types of events. And, you can always have a concealed carry permit and you can carry, but it isn't always a good idea, especially not when you're going into that type of environment. So, unfortunately, the way this thing ended is not good. But, once again, I mean, people make choices, and he made some very bad choices.
Congressman, it seems as though there's been some aversion of the worst features of a shutdown. We had President Trump and Speaker Johnson today discussing the legislation that the House moved to the president's desk. Take a listen, we'll get your reaction.
This bill is a great victory for the American people. Instead of a bloated and wasteful omnibus monstrosity full of special interest handouts, we've succeeded in passing a fiscally responsible package that actually cuts wasteful federal spending.
We're getting back to that regular order process. 12 separate appropriations bills. We've gotten them to your desk, and this is a big thing. It seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing.
We do love 12 separate, distinct bills on appropriations. Congratulations to all of you in the House on that. But where does this leave long-term funding for the Department of Homeland Security and ICE operations?
Yeah, I mean, we are very elated that we were able to get the 12 packages through, but now we find ourselves in a position where this is the second time the U.S. Senate hasn't really delivered on the deal that was originally set. So the House has to react to that, and we did that today. But I'll tell you, there's not a lot of members very pleased with the idea that we simply have a provision that gives the president 12 days to try and negotiate something with Chuck Schumer, which is now 9 days, I guess, as we speak. So there's a lot of members of our conference that are very nervous about what this is ultimately going to look like and whether or not we could actually support this at the end of the day.
Yeah, is it your expectation that you'll be asked to vote for something that puts limitations or restrictions on immigration enforcement as a part of Chuck Schumer's demands?
Absolutely. I think that's a concern. I would also say that some of us, I think, are now worried also that the description for who ICE has been going after has been kind of limited more to those dangerous criminals. A better way of putting it, I think, is, listen, if you're here illegally, you should be subject to the scrutiny that goes along with everyone else. And I think some members are getting very nervous that we're just too focused on one segment of illegals in America right now.
And so it's your view that every person who's here illegally should be the subject of a deportation action, right?
Absolutely. And this isn't going to be easy. I mean, there are a lot of different sectors right now that are probably propped up by illegals. And as a result of that, we've got a lot of work to do, I think, to eliminate a lot of the fake documentation that has allowed people to kind of live and operate here in the States.
A final subject I want to talk with you about. You're the chairman of the Antitrust Committee in the Judiciary Committee, and there's this big proposed merger between Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery. We've got great concerns about what that would do to market power. How are you analyzing that proposed merger?
Yeah, I had an editorial in the Wall Street Journal back in December. I think that maybe the take that was there during the Biden administration was all mergers are bad right out of the gate. But, I was trying to make the point that I think we should at least allow the law to work, and that DOJ should have the ability to take a good hard look at this stuff. I've met with the Ellison family, and we've met with Ted Sorensen from Netflix. This situation seems to be kind of changing in that people are wondering, what is the status of Warner Brothers? Is it a company that is ready to falter? Are there bits and pieces that could be sold off? So there's a lot of analysis going on, and a lot of kind of, I think, time is going to tell us exactly where they're at.
Many conservatives are worried about a very left-wing company like Netflix that has funded the Obamas and has Susan Rice on the board, getting so much content to align with their distribution assets. Does the political standing of Netflix cause you any concern?
Yeah, I mean, that question has been asked directly of Ted Sorensen. I'm not going to characterize exactly how he responded, but he has tried to, I think, at least alleviate the criticism by saying, hey, listen, this is a company that was built from scratch. We do what we think is best for the customers. And, we'll see if that type of response is satisfactory or not.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good nose for nonsense, and that sounds like nonsense to me. Representative Scott Fitzgerald, the chairman of the Antitrust Subcommittee, a senior member of the House Judiciary Committee, thanks for joining us as always.
Thanks, Matt. Good to be with you.